The fundamental failure last year was not the tactics of getting trees to germinate in shade versus watering strategies. It was the fact that I shot my shot and I just sat back and hoped it worked. And this year, it's just not gonna work. I can't continue that way because of audience fatigue on YouTube. YouTube is what is funding all of this, and I'm just gonna lose the audience this summer if I don't have success. And that means that I'll have to quit. With my back to the wall, I am motivated to try and try and try and try and try until we figure it out. And I believe that these tires are my best bet to get seeds to germinate here on the terrace. This episode is about walking through the journey. I arrived on the ranch so excited, ready to see the germinations. I knew that I didn't have any tree germinations, but the experience of seeing it, you can hear it in my voice. It's a meager response that we still have a serious germination problem to figure out. But it's also a testament to community, whether it's my experiment club, the lesson from Miss Debbie. I think we have cool things here, and literally if this doesn't work, I'm done, because this is everything I can think of to maximize the effort. We'll get to the tires later in the episode, but for now, let me show you the light bulb going off, and then we'll come around to how we're gonna fix it. The day after I got here, Brandon and I had an amazing morning meeting thinking about what is working and what isn't. I mean, there's a whole lot that's not working on the terrace, but in the nursery, we have a mixed bag where we do have some signs of success. So Brandon, on his own, did an experiment where he kept the pots in sealed containers, and he noticed a huge difference because we didn't have enough lids. So the ones in the sealed containers, we got germinations, and in everything exposed to the open air, nothing. Basically, that tells us what the problem is, because I'm under 50% shade cloth and we're still not getting germinations in as close to perfect conditions as we can make out here. We're not using actual potting soil. We're trying to avoid transplant shock. The mix is about 85% native soil. We amend an extra 8% clay for water retention, and then there's biochar and hydrogel. And even still, with the amendments, the soil's drying out in the nursery. But in the sealed containers is where we're getting germination, and that tells me it's just water. It's not frequency of water, it's just the overall humidity, and there's no amount of me pouring water with an irrigation system in the desert that's going to simulate high humidity out here, other than sealing a container. And that's why we settled on the tires as the experiment, because we can do 3 different experiments. We're going to leave the tires open to the air, and I don't think that's going to do very well. Then we're going to put shade cloth over the top. I don't think that's the key difference, because we're in shade and we're still having trouble getting germinations. The third one, we're going to put greenhouse plastic over the top of the tire so that the water can drip in but not leave. And then on top, so that we don't bake everything, we're going to put shade cloth immediately over it. Now with the leftover shade cloth, I'm going to run that on some of the rows on the terraces. A lot of that motivation is from the experiment club, where that's what they voted for me to do this month. I do think it'll help. I don't think it's going to be the critical difference. It is just, it's humidity.
We're about to put hydrogel. Oh, that's a whole lot. That's all right though. Mix it in good. I think what I'm making is a rattlesnake incubator. I tied this bucket with all my seeds that have been soaking, or these tree holes, and the I want to cry. The mulberry, oh mercy, what a disaster. So the wind got my bucket with seeds. I tied it to this machine, but I just did it bad. I did a bad job. These are the jujube. They're easy to see. Jujube. Let's say Chinese date. I like that better. Stupid. I'm glad I pulled more seeds than I needed to. Hopefully I get enough back that John doesn't cry. That is not what I want to do.
Okay, so how did it get so, is this amended soil?
In the
tires?
it is.
Yeah, because the color, it looks like compost. Is that from the biochar?
Yeah.
Cool.
Biochar, and it's wet, wet, wet because I just mixed in high percentage of gel. If you grab a handful and squeeze it,
Yeah.
you can tell it's in there.
I don't think it's going to work, just the tires. I think we're going to have the exact same problem. And even with the shade cloth, I don't think it fixes anything. I think we just need to put plastic over the top and then lay the ECB over it and call it good. Well, ideally, we'd have white agricultural plastic, but you know, that's what the ECB's for, is just to block out the light. I think we're ready to plant.
All right.
I feel good about the
seeds are
plan.
over here, except for the mulberry seeds. The ones that stuck to the cup, we kept. The ones that went in the dirt, I prioritized finding the rest of the other ones. So
Yes.
This is dirt.
Maybe in 10 years when we get our unusual rain event, we'll get some mulberry in a surprise.
These mulberry seeds last that long. I was reading on Grok last night. But, all right, here's the rest.
Okay, so
Jujube.
I'm gonna grab that pen. Husace, jujube, mulberry,
Golden lead ball.
Lucana, Retusa. Okay, 2 more.
Honey mesquite and white mulberry.
It is important that we get the depth correct when we put the extra seeds in, because you know, like the jujube needs to be buried quite a bit deeper than mulberry. Jujube seeds are, for context, let me show people jujube. That's Lucana. That's
the one's
honey
covered
mesquite.
up over there.
So these jujube seeds are, hopefully you can see the angle, but they're like almost peanuts. And then these are sweet acacia. So these are gonna go at about a 1/2 inch, and the jujube needs to be a full inch. Why don't I just sit at the next tire and you pass me seeds? We'll make a little chain, less moving for everybody.
I'm kind of completely absorbed.
Cool.
Just to get not messing up.
All right, I'll leave you be.
Cool. I thought it were solid blue, but I was wrong.
It's actually, it's better. It's lighter color. This is hilarious. What are we going to be showing the world? Thank you to Bearded Man. We definitely appreciate the contribution.
Yeah, dude. Will you stand on that while I cut?
Can do.
All right. Don't really need that.
That edge is fantastic.
It was this morning. I used a lot.
Sounds like you're opening a zipper.
Beautiful. Tarp is first and then the ECB on top?
Yes.
Okay.
I gotta make my usual joke. I wish we had some rocks handy.
It's funny every time.
Thank you for your indulgence, sir.
It's really sticky.
It is. Let me get this. It is a lot of sun. I'm not opposed to a second layer.
I think that's about it. Pretty fused.
There we go. I'm gonna set a task in Trello to for you to check this in 14 days. Meet the Terra Grappler G3 from Nitto Tire. This is their most advanced all-terrain tire yet, and they proudly have their manufacturing right here in the US. Whether you're ripping through trails or cruising pavement, these tires elevate your light truck or your SUV with grip and style. I've tested the G3s on my rig for over 6 months now, and they're a game changer. They're smooth on the highways, tenacious in mud, and 3-peak mountain snow rated for winter confidence. The new treading compound boosts performance in the rain, in the snow, and the dry conditions like I have out here almost all the time. And they come with a class-leading 70,000-mile warranty on metric sizes. Lighter than alternatives, they're an easy upgrade that won't stress your suspension. I put my poor Taco through so much work. She's retired from towing duties, and now I can use her for her best capability, which is getting me from A to B. The Terra Grappler G3 is less aggressive than Nitto's Recon or Ridge Grappler. The Terra Grappler G3 is best suited for people like you and me who are driving both on-road and off-road. This truck is the one that we take into El Paso for our errands, and I don't want to hear the off-road tires going wee. An all-terrain tire really is the best solution for me and my needs out here. But I have a question for you, and I really hope you'll participate. If you've got a rig, what make and model would you put your Terra Grappler G3s on? Make sure you leave comments because you're actively supporting the channel, and your support of my sponsors is what makes this desert forest happen. Without sponsors like Nitto Tire, this whole thing, all this equipment, Brandon, Daniel, everything that's helping me make this happen wouldn't be here. So let me know which one of your vehicles you think the Terra Grappler G3 belongs on. Visit nittotire.com to learn more. Before I arrived, I knew we had germinations. I knew all of them were forbs and grasses and none of them were trees. But the experience of me walking the terrace and expecting to be excited and winding up disappointed was extremely important in setting goals and timelines for this project. What I want to do is show y'all the emotional journey of walking here, and I just realized that I'm at a critical juncture. If we can't figure out tree germinations this summer on the actual terraces, I need to seriously reconsider whether I need to hang it up and quit. But now that I'm here, I can't wait to get up there and see the germinations for myself. All right, let's go take a look. Oh, there's some grass. That's a good start. Grass. Good. The reason that we have all this grass popping up is not because I planted grass seed. What is actually happening is it looks like we bought Johnson grass hay, and it came full of seeds, which I know I've heard farmers complain about forever. In this case, I'm pretty happy about it. I did not intentionally plant Johnson grass, but that's going to be my nurse crop. Whatever it takes to get the trees shade. This mulberry ain't doing well. I don't think that's that. That's too bad. It got regular water too. It's right by the emitter. That mulberry ain't happening. And we got some damage on our good cactus. The mulberry's gone. So that is common vetch down there. More of what I think is radish. Oh, I really wish he would have told me about the mulberry. In order to increase the chances for success, I added even more seeds to the mix and avoided the pre-treatment. So we just put everything on the ground. And one of the things I included was a pasture mix. That's just the idea of a nurse crop, just for immediate shade to get everything going. We're starting the tour on SW2, which is the second terrace. I picked SW because the terrace runs to the southwest. Man, the rosemary didn't do well either. Grass, more stuff popping up there. And this is the newer planting. This is about 2 weeks behind the next section that'll cover. There's some more vetch, grass and vetch, radish. We gotta add more mulch over here. Over this hose, it should be covered a little better. This is sorghum. So we got sorghum coming up, which is good. Stuff got munched. Hey! Yes! That, I'm pretty sure, is, well, it's a legume. I think that's Parkinsonia. Check my useless identification app because sweet acacia, yeah, that's great because sweet acacia is a target crop. That is one of the trees I really want to grow. So having that pop up above the mulch, great sign. And native. Boy, these cactus are struggling. They've been annihilated by whatever's coming through here. Just munch, 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 munch. Completely eaten. Look, bees enjoying some moisture. Oh, good. The elm's coming back. I thought it was a goner, but here we go. It lost all its leaves after we transplanted it, and looks like it's gonna make it. Awesome. This is Vitex. This is what I transplanted with Kit. Oh, hey. Okay, that looks like that sweet acacia that I just ID'd. Lucana. There's more stuff down there, but I gotta be careful and not disturb it. So anyway, it could be Lucana leucocephala, which Kit brought, and we did transplant in this area, but I don't remember transplanting any of them that were that tiny. It might be Lucana retusa, which is also native and which I added to the seed mix this year. And actually, I kind of prefer that one. Vitex is doing great. More Vitex. More Vitex. The agave's hanging in there. That one's looking fantastic. The color is really starting to improve. You want to see it. Dull green is not a good thing when it really darkens up. It's like a nice vibrant green. This is what you want to see. I'm gonna walk over here out of the row. I saw something I wanted to look at. That's flax, which would be the pasture mix. Some of the agave looks like it could use a little love. But that's our start for the year on the new terrace, which, not surprisingly, the further down I walked this way, the more I found, because it's been planted about 2 or 3 weeks longer. So for me, it's an enormous relief just seeing any kind of tree popping up. It's nice to see the grass and everything, but I'm really want to see trees from seed get going. We have the nursery, which I'll stop by on the way back so you can take a look at that. But I mean, there is stuff growing here. I could show you a lot more and make it look better by digging under the mulch, but I really don't want to do that. The only other thing that I really want to address here is this stuff. This is ECB, which is an erosion control blanket. And this is for the purpose of planting native seeds. Brandon's dug under there and he said that there is a little bit of germination from the native seeds in this area, but I want to leave them alone. Hopefully they'll form a decent little turf. And we did water them, but I don't think anything's likely to happen until they get a good rain. And as soon as we see stuff popping up through it, like all these birds that, I don't know if that came out on camera, but all these birds are hanging out. Hopefully they're not taking my seed. And I should take you over here where I can tell you about a little experiment we've decided to do. This part of the terrace is just wide enough that we can fit a mulch row right here. And what Brandon's doing is just digging by hand so that he could add some soil amendments and manure and biochar and clay. And then when he comes back, we're just gonna plant trees right here in this section, or tree seeds here in this section. And we'll run the irrigation line from over there, over here, back this way, and then we'll just terminate it here where we have all this extra space. But for now, let's go look at the original terrace and see how it's doing. And I know a lot of you have trouble keeping track of what's where, so this is the new terrace, and this is the old one. I gotta put a ground clamp on that. Okay, oh wow, sweet. Can actually see stuff. Fantastic. Some of this sorghum actually recovered from last year, which is just amazing. This is licorice that germinated last year, and so you can see it's finally starting to go. Man, there is so much damage on the cactus. Holy cow. Look at that sorghum. That looks crazy healthy. Yeah. I think that's more licorice. That was not there last year. And then we had the dieback from a hard freeze where it got down to 17 or 16 degrees, but the Parkinsonia is at least coming back. I learned that I planted the wrong type of seed. That looks like more licorice. That's new. This is new. What are you? Chickpea. That is in the seed mix. This looks like a legume to me. Honey locust, wow. Cool. So that's a new germination. That was in the seed ball mix that I made in the fall of last year. So stuff is working. And then here's a long line of trees that got knocked off in the freeze but are coming back, thankfully. These are all growing from the roots, so these ought to grow like crazy this year. I don't even know what this is. You can see all the new cactus growth. Like, I think it's obvious walking by that you see cactus pads popping up. Last time I was here, they all look like this, where they're just nice and fuzzy and soft. Wow, and the agave looks way better over here. You see the color difference on the agave going that way? Looks amazing. And then this is Sesbania, which is rattlebush. It would benefit probably from some staking, but maybe I'll put that under the shade cloth. Look at that one. It's like, the color looks fantastic. This row looks super healthy. It's clearly got something to do with the water. These bigger ones are still struggling a little bit. This guy right here. Look, more licorice. More licorice. I'm noticing a trend here. The natives are what seem to want to come up first. This is something we transplanted last year. I think this was a mimosa, but that doesn't look like it's on the transplant. So let's see if that's a seed or if that's off the transplant I wrote off as dead. It's not bird of paradise because I didn't plant that. Well, we'll find out. Maybe it's sweet acacia, I'm not sure. We'll know when it's bigger. Looking gnarly up in the mountains. These barren stretches are still a huge concern. At least the cactus should be able to grow faster than it can be eaten, but see, like that Americana looks super healthy. That's a red yucca that we transplanted. Let's take a peek. That's actually, yep, that looks fine. I obviously need to get a handle on whatever is munching on all my cactus and my grass. I'm excited to see tree germinations. Obviously, I want to see way more. Could use a lot more rain too. But I want to show you how I'm taking a little more control, because if we just keep having this horrible trouble getting germinations, then I've done everything I can realistically to get them to germinate. Like, we've got the tree bowls that you saw Brandon making on that new stretch. We've put in tons of soil amendments, and if it doesn't work, then maybe we have to germinate the seeds ourselves, which we've already started doing. So let me show you that. Looks like it's raining towards Sierra Blanca. First, let me show you over here. We had some yucca donated to us. That's not how I remember it, but it's got green leaves, so must be doing okay. It was definitely not that green when we got here. But anyway, let's go in the nursery. If you see something open and nothing's growing, those are failed pots. If you are looking at a pot and stuff is growing, it's because, well, it's already established. So there's a couple of different things in here. This is all goji berry, except for that one is rattlebush for some reason. We have rattlebush there too, and the rest of this is pomegranate. So this is all Leucaena retusa. If it's covered with a lid, it's to keep the humidity in and to help them germinate. And then once they've germinated, we're pulling the lid off to really get them going. And so you can see out of all these pots, we're not crushing it, but we at least have germinations. And then over here, what do we have? This is yellow horn, which looks like it hasn't germinated yet. It's gonna need some water. And then over here, these all look super healthy. I wonder what these are. Oh, there it is. Mulberry. Good. So we got lots of mulberry going. Whoa, look at that. This is jujube. We got all these here, so at least we have a backup plan going. I assume that germinations kind of similar to this are happening under that mulch, but I don't know that for a fact. And what I dislike on my original terrace is how splotchy the germinations are. So if we still have that happen after the summer, we have a backup plan going in this nursery where we can at least stick these in the ground, hopefully in 3 or 4 months. So we take more control over our destiny and make sure that we're doing okay. My overarching goal this year is to speed up experimentation. This is the result of the tires just 6 days later, and you can see it worked. We planted 6 of each seed using 6 different species. And as you can tell from the writing on the tires, I divided the tire into pie slices. There's 6 total species, and there's 6 seeds of each species that we planted. The benefit of doing that is now we'll know exactly what my germination rate was. That's going to tell me germination rates and how successful we are, and help me focus my efforts on which species are most likely to succeed. I apologize that I'm showing you images instead of videos. It's much easier to see what's happening in a photo. Here you can see Leucaena retusa getting a fast start, which is a native. We have to really zoom in to see it, but Blue Palo Verde, which is Parkinsonia, Florida, is my most reliable pioneer. It germinated in every single tire in the 6-day period. I cannot overemphasize how amazing it feels to have more control over the pioneer trees, because it's the biggest audience hang-up, it's my biggest source of frustration. This gives me a lot more control and influence over my destiny. The mindset of rapid experimentation will continue. Now that we know the tires work, we're going to do another experiment to see if we can achieve similar germination rates with this pioneer mix without needing to bury the tires. The Experiment Club is helping to drive this process. If you're interested in having a vote and a voice, that's open to anyone that joins Teen DUSTUPS. You'll find that link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.